So in that trial, the Senzo Meyiwa trial itself, it's expected to continue on the 14th of November after postponement earlier today. We've heard from close friend of the late soccer sensation, that's Mr. Tumelo Madala, about what transpired when Senzo Meyiwa was shot and killed as he was present on that dreadful day in the house. eNCA reporter Slindelo Masikane following this trial for us. Let's go live now to her just to get the latest update. Slee, good afternoon. Thanks for your time here on Today. Well, court wrapped up much earlier today than usual. Understandably, I heard that Advocate Mshololo was not feeling that great and it's been postponed, as you told us yesterday, to November now. That will be the next time that we'll be following this trial. But what happened in court today?
Well, we saw the continuation of cross-examination brought down for the morning session, and like you've said, we had to adjourn just after tea, and that is because Advocate Zandile Mshololo for accused 5 isn't feeling well. But TT Tobane for accused 4 was already grilling Tumelo Madala in terms of the inconsistencies in his testimony in court, opposed to about several statements he's made in connection with this incident. But also during cross-examination, we're seeing Tobane also putting a different version of events to Tumelo Madala to say that there were never any intruders in the house, and in fact one of the exhibits or evidence that was collected from the scene purporting to be from the intruders, Tobane says actually belongs to one of the people who was in the house, and in particular we're speaking about the hat that was found on the scene alleged to belong to the first intruder who came into the house. Let's take a listen.
Hayi ngiyaqala ukuzwa lokho akusona isami leso sigqoko ngangasigqokile isigqoko ngifika la.
I'm hearing that for the first time. That hat doesn't belong to me. I wasn't wearing a hat when I arrived here.
Noma ngisigqoka isigqoko angigqoki lezi nje.
Even if I do wear a hat, but those ones I don't wear them.
And what did the defense say today, Slindelo, about the crime scene?
Well, more questions around the contamination and cleaning of the crime scene. You would remember that during evidence that was led by Sergeant Thabo Mosia as well as Sergeant Patrick Mtetwa, they both testified to the fact that they did not see blood on the floors except for the blood splatters in between the TV stand and the couch. And the defense trying to drive that point in that it seems that the crime scene was really a lot had gone wrong, Bradan, before police could arrive. So it was put to Madala exactly whether he saw any blood in the crime scene or not. Let's take a listen.
The only blood that I saw was in the dining room. There's no other blood that I saw.
So you're saying that when you were taking our hero from the way you said he was sitting to the car through the kitchen door, no blood went to the floor?
Ingabe uthi ukusuka la namthatha khona nase niphuma naye ke nimkhipha la ekitchen alikho nje igazi ela thonzizela phansi.
Angisho ukuthi alika ngilibonanga because igazi lokuqala ngalibona mangiya kuyena usenzo lapho phansi amaduku ama-spotnyana egazi.
I'm not saying that there wasn't blood, but I didn't see it. The blood that I saw was when I went to Senzo, and then that's where I saw blood next to where he was lying.
I put it to you that you are seeing is selective as well, just like your selective amnesia. How do you see the hockey stick? How do you see the crash, the head, but you don't see the blood?
You, Slee, me and thousands of other South Africans were gripped by that Netflix documentary just that week before the trial began several months ago. And this matter of this docu came up in court today. Tell us about that.
It first came up yesterday in terms of cross-examination, Bradan, of Tumelo Madala, where Tobane wants to know exactly how much Tumelo was paid in terms of featuring in that Netflix documentary. It seems the defense wants to paint Tumelo Madala as somebody who's not a credible witness, somebody who could possibly do or say anything for money, and the state was objecting to that line of questioning, saying that it wasn't relevant, but Tobane then saying it is relevant and that Madala needs to tell the court exactly how much he was paid. This is what he had to say in terms of Madala around that payment.
Ngizoke ngifonele Durban nginazo incwadi abangisayinisa zona cause bangitshela before ukuthi uNetflix awukhipha imali for ukuthi uinterview umuntu ngabatshela ngathi isikhali sami lesenzobe ningwestela sona and ithombe zami niyidingayo manje ngafuni yekelani then babuyela back ababenganginike mhlawumbe ukuthi kanjani nginazo neincwadi engabangisayinisa zona. I think it's similar.
I think there are documents in Umlazi. I'll have to contact someone back home and to get the documentation where I had signed because upon them contacting me, they told me that Netflix doesn't pay you for having an interview with you. And then I said to them, the pictures are mine, it is my spare time, so if you don't want to, just leave it like that. So I think the documents are still there back home.
Slindelo, as we conclude, I think the fact that somebody was in the house when Senzo Meyiwa was shot and killed has taken the stand, created a lot of interest in this trial with all kinds of drama that happened throughout the week. And also we saw inside court in this particular week, the family members of Senzo Meyiwa, the sister was there. You've managed as well to speak to them. As we wrap up this week of testimony, as we wrap up this week of the trial, for you, as we summarize and you're looking ahead to November, what are the key things to take out now as we try to get to grips with what happened this week?
I mean, it's still early days, Bradan. Yes, we sat for 2 weeks in terms of the September sitting, but there's still a lot more that we still need to hear in terms of the state's strength, the strength of their case, in terms of the evidence they have against these men who are accused in the dock. I mean, one of the significant takeouts is, of course, that dock identification of accused number 2, Bongani Ntanzi, who out of the 5 men doesn't have a previous conviction and is actually due for a bail application next week. And I think when we resume, it's going to be interesting to see just how far cross-examination is going to take in terms of Advocate Zandile Mshololo starting her cross-examination and when Tobane will finish, because we know in November we'll be sitting for about 3 weeks. It's going to be also interesting to see if anybody else in the House will be called to testify to corroborate Tumelo Madala's story. And I think it's going to be also something to watch in terms of what unfolds with the evidence. We don't know who's going to be called. The state does not want to really confirm who they're calling. So at this point, it's all just a guessing game. At this point, we have Tumelo Madala in the witness box. We resume with him still in the witness box, and I think it's going to be interesting to see just what kind of holes the defense is going to poke in his testimony in court.
Thank you very much, Slindelo Masikane, for that wrap of the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial for these past 2 weeks. Back in court, of course, on the 14th of November, with Mr. Tumelo Madala, one of Senzo Meyiwa's friends, set to continue in the dock. They set to continue in the witness box, being cross-examined by the defense. We expect Advocate Zandile Mshololo to pick up where Titi Tobane ended off today.